Alright, so this week's weekly UI is for a job listing page, and I'm going to do that for the Gaslight site. You'll see that our careers page here looks pretty nice. It visualizes really strongly our brand, but when you click through to see the actual job listing, it's just a wall of text, and it's really uninspiring and hard to digest. So I'm going to go ahead and see what we could do to revamp that. So here we go. Let's grab all of the copy here from that page. I'm going to focus on the UX designer job listing because, hey, I'm a designer. Seems to fit. So let's see here. We'll grab the title here. I'm going to throw some rules in to make sure our content is aligned. And let's zoom in a little bit here, and we'll put our blue highlight background behind the job title here. And I'm going to use the CC libraries for our brand guide and colors and things of that sort. So we've got our blue. And let's get the padding on this right. It's a little bit less top and bottom. So we'll kind of nudge that down, and I'm actually going to change this to be UX designer. We struggle with what to have the design and development, for that matter, job titles be, because we do a lot. There's a lot of crossover between what we actually do on a day-to-day basis. So UX designer is what is on our business cards, so let's go with that. And I'm actually going to see what is this max width size. 55M, what does that compute to? 883. Okay, so let's actually get in here. We'll do 883, and we'll get that in the center of our artboard. And then let's adjust the rules, plural there, to be that wide, and then that way we're actually emulating a little bit more realistically. So let's get this out of here. Got a placeholder for an image because I want to add an image to the header like we do on other secondary pages. So let's get that in there for the time being. Let's get our text to be our brand black. And then we'll have that kind of nested underneath the job title. I'm going to grab this first paragraph under purpose to be our intro. I think it does a good job of kind of highlighting and summarizing what it is we do as designers without getting too tactical. So I'll let that be the intro. And it looks like I had that on the wrong side. So we'll move the image over on the right, our copy on the left. And let's get that vertically centered with the image. Work on our spacing, get rid of hyphenation. We'll increase the gutter there, and then we'll get our image a little taller. Okay, so that's a good starting point. We've got our job title, we've got a reports to note, and then we've got our intro paragraph with an image placeholder. So let's get some other copy in here. Let's grab the remaining paragraphs that were in the purpose, and let's get our line height to be an even number. We'll make that 30, and we'll increase the paragraph space before. And I'm actually going to pull out that last one because it was a note that we are not actively hiring, because we're not, but we do want to keep this listing up in case people do want to try to, I guess, change our minds. We're never opposed to meeting people, so we always like to keep this up, but we're not actively seeking designers at the moment. So I want to let that be a little bit more prominent because historically it's been something that has been looked over or missed because it's just buried in the copy. It's not laid out well enough to be super prominent. So I'm going to pull that out, put that up top, and then let's get our list style going here. Actually, let's not do tabs. What do I want to do? We want to do the paragraph alignment. Here we go. This is what we want. Alright, and then we'll reduce the first line indent, but that's not lined up. The copy is not left aligned appropriate, so let's play with this a little bit. Alignment is a hard thing that I get very tedious over. Okay. That is aligned, much better. Okay, so let's play with the paragraph spacing after so that each bullet point feels like its own unit. And then this last one actually is not a bullet point, it's a paragraph after the traits of a gaslight designer. I'm going to add that up here. And let's get rid of the bullet styling. Let's do our line height 30, and then we'll do our paragraph spacing. Okay, so we've got this list here, and I'm going to, the next thing we need to lay out is the what to expect. So I am going to grab that, so I'll grab the title too, and then let's dupe this text box here, and we'll copy that header style and copy that paragraph style. Oop. Too much paragraph spacing. Let's get rid of that before paragraph spacing. These pipes, what are these pipes doing in here? Okay, let's wordsmith a little bit because this doesn't read super smoothly. So, we make every effort to respond individually to every inquiry. That is accurate. And we'll set up a meeting if you seem like a good fit, and then let's combine these two sentences so that they don't read quite so fragmented. And that feels better. Okay, and so we've got our 2-column layout going on here. Make sure that those are vertically or top aligned. And then the last thing in here is kind of a general about Gaslight. And let's get the line height consistent, and we'll pick up this header style again. And then let's let that one go full width. So it's kind of like a closer, general about Gaslight. If you were going to work for us, this is something that you'll want to know. And then I'm actually going to drag this copy down below the lists here. So it feels like it's a little bit more of a close as well. So let's combine these two text boxes here and get some more spacing in between. Okay, so we've got kind of an intro paragraph and then specifics of Gaslight designer traits and what to expect, and then kind of more general things to be aware of, and close it with general Gaslight about. So that feels like a good flow of content. Then what I'm going to do is grab an image that the lovely Katie Best has taken and drop that in here. And let's get that scaled appropriately so it fills its mask. And then we're going to make it a little bit taller so there's some more breathing room, so it's a little bit taller than the copy on the left there. And then the last thing is this call to action that we need to get on the page so that applicants actually know what they need to do in order to apply. We have a code exercise that we ask people to submit with their application, so there's a link to that and then a link to the actual submission form. So let's do, I'm going to have that be part of the intro paragraph here so it's front and center and can't be missed. Also something that gets lost in the current layout, current design. So I'm going to have the submit your application button here take place at the click here link that is currently on the site, and our buttons are little pill shapes that have the yellow outline. So I'm going to dump that in there, and let's actually lighten up that font weight there, feels better. And we'll get rid of the click here and let this button be kind of a continuation of that sentence there. So we'll decrease the font size to be the same as the body copy, and then let's get the button to be a little bit smaller as well, and we'll left align that. And then this code exercise is also a link, so we're going to drop in our link styles here, and those are a black underline, and then on hover they kind of highlight from left to right. So we will add in the underline and let the highlight be in the interactive piece of it once we build it out. So, okay, please complete this code exercise and submit your application. And then that way it's really clear to the users what they need to do in order to apply, and it doesn't get lost in the body of the job description. So let's scale this up a little bit, frame it up a little nicer, and then let's play with the width of that gutter there. I want to make it a little smaller, but I don't want code to be there on the bottom and be an orphan or a widow. I never know which is which. But I don't like the last word to be alone on its own line. So we'll make sure that there's 2 down there, and then let's work on styling this up here. It's a note that we are not actively hiring. But like I was saying earlier, we like to always keep the job listings up even if we're not actively looking to fill the position, because we do always like to meet people, and sometimes if we see a really great applicant, we can change our minds or make an exception on whether or not we're looking to hire at that point in time. So a note here that gets called out really prominently, but also still encourages people to connect with us. So we don't have a style on the site currently for some sort of like site-wide alert or like note like this, so I'm kind of winging it a little bit. I'm going to keep obviously with the brand colors and stick with this highlight kind of theme or motif we've got going through the site right now, and just make it yellow so it feels a little bit more like note, highlight, something to take note of. And then I'm going to add a mask or container here to the description because we are finished laying out the page, and I'm going to start composing our dribble shot. So I'm going to go with our brand black for the background, and then drop in some of these textural shapes that we use on the site to help give the background some visual interest. And let's see, let's start trying to arrange these. It's a little big. I'm going to make them a little smaller so that you can still see the pattern that we're creating here on the edge. And I want to try to make sure that these feel like they're connected, but not like giant just blocks of shapes. So we'll drop those in there, and then let's see how these two look together. Those look pretty nice. And then I'm going to add one more over on the right. And let's get these all even numbers. We'll do 340 for all of them. And 340 for this guy. And then let's get him in the background. Cool. That way it's not symmetrical, and that we have 2 blocks high on each side. We'll add a little bit of variation there on the right. And then I'm going to drop in these, our sprinkles as we like to call them. And let's scale those up a little bit to match the size of those textures. And then I'm going to just kind of place these somewhat randomly so that we create some visual interest here. And I like the idea of kind of having some of them overlap to add a little bit this element of dimension. I'm going to bump this up a little bit so we can get some more white space above that notice up top. Okay, so let's drop in these sprinkles. And the key here is not to use too many. We want to use them sporadically, I guess, or we want to keep it kind of light so that they're not overwhelming and distracting, but create some visual interest, and also to make sure that the colors are balanced and that we don't have too many of the same color next to each other. And also same thing with the shapes. We want to make sure that the shapes are well distributed as well. So there's a few things to consider when using the sprinkles. They are sort of decorative, but there is some intention behind them. So let's see here. Let's see, I had that yellow circle overlapping, but it was kind of hard to see. The contrast between that yellow outline and the white background wasn't strong enough, so it was feeling like it was getting lost. So I'm going to switch that out for this red solid circle to overlap, and there we go. I think that's it. We've got our dribble shot, we've got our job listing, and we'll see you again next week.